let's start with the men's player of the year, shall we? And who we think should probably get the nod as the best player in that men's team. Who wants to go first? Mickey?
I'll go first because I'm a big fan of certain individual. Obviously, Luke Shaw, he can go on about Martinez, but for me, Luke Shaw has been so consistent. He can play in that back four anywhere, actually, now. And, for me, his performance has been outstanding. He's one you can rely on week in, week out, which is important. And as he stepped up to the mark, and as I said, I'm a massive fan of his.
It's been quite impressive watching Luke Shaw play 2 positions across the back. He's now got 3 positions in his locker. He can play left of a back 3, left-sided centre-half and left-back. I mean, it's been quite impressive to watch, really.
Yeah, I mean, the ease with which he sort of, slipped into that centre-half role over Christmas when there was obviously a bit of an injury crisis and Martinez still wasn't back from the World Cup. He just takes things in his stride, really. Luke. He's a very, very calm, sort of measured footballer. I thought that performance in the derby against City at the back, I was probably the quietest I think Erling Haaland's been kept all season. He was really, really impressive in that. I think they do lose a lot without him at left back. I think he offers sort of a pace and penetration down that side, and I think there's quite a good link up with Marcus Rashford. I think Rashford would, be upset at times when Luke's playing in the middle because he does lose that sort of partner in crime down the side. I sort of wonder. I mean, I think now there is an expectation on players to be multifaceted. I mean, you only need to look at down the road and look at, say, someone like John Stones this season, who looks like he's been playing as a midfield pivot all his life. And I think if you've got that intelligence, and I think he's really tapped into that, Ten Hag. And I think what he liked the most was Luke actually came to him and said, "I'll play at centre half." And Ten Hag was like, "I like that." Really backed himself to do that. And I think he's taken on that one sort of role of an elder statesman. I think he needed people like Casemiro and Martinez to come into that side and lift him, and he now sees allies in that side. Yeah. He needs more around. They still need more around him. They still need more of that type. But yeah, he's been a real model of consistency, I think, Luke Shaw this season.
While we're with you, who are you picking for men's player of the season?
Well, I've been a huge fan of Martinez, but given the injury and this key period of the season that they've been without him, I'm going to go for Marcus Rashford. I think he's only got 5 in his last 17, and there has been a drop off, but he's got 29 goals for them. I actually look at where they would be. I think about where they would be without him this season, and that will be a concern for me. I think there has been such a burden on him for goals, and I think that is a responsibility that he's really taken in his stride. And when I actually look at where he came from last season, and I think he himself has admitted he was not in a great place and his confidence was so low, and to sort of turn it around in the way he has, I think takes a huge amount of conviction and belief and fight and determination, and I think he's shown all of those qualities. I would love to see him. If he was playing with an absolutely outstanding number 9 as well, I think he would be an even greater threat. So I'll go for Rashford.
I was just going to say his assists as well, which quietly go under the radar, but he's got a fair few of those in his locker this season, as well as the 29 goals. He's been massively important. Are you agreeing with either of these two, or are you picking a third?
There's not even a debate for me. It's Marcus Rashford. For the story that James just spelled out, to be honest, I think there's huge question marks over him, even his future at the club at the start of this season, and to turn that around in such an emphatic way and be the leading light of this team. And we're sat here at the start of this show saying that and it's an important win to get United in the top 4 and all this sort of stuff. There was a point in the season where it looked like they might even be able to get into the title conversation, and the big reason for both of those things being even on the cards at all this year is Rashford's form and his goal scoring. 29 goals, for him from last season, where he got 4 or 5, was it, something like that? That's an incredible jump. And you're right. I do know where this team would be without Marcus. It'd be a lot lower down the table. But scoring in the Carabao Cup final as well. He's just been it for United this year.
Couldn't agree with you more. 1 vote for Luke Shaw, 2 votes for Marcus Rashford. Where are you going, Webbs?
I'm just going to copy what they've said. I just know. But on a serious note, I'd have gone first. I'd have said Marcus as well. I think, I know how hard it is. You're at the top end of the pitch to score goals for one. Let alone when the expectancy on you is huge. You're a local boy in which he is, and you've had such a bad season, which he did last season. You're out the England setup. People could go, well, I've done enough in my career and just sort of float along, but he didn't. He went away last summer and got his head straight, had a bit of time to himself. It's good because he's had his injuries that he's had from his shoulder and other parts. He had time to clear up, and he came back with a real confidence in himself, but he backed himself under the new manager. He bought into what Eric said. You can see even his reaction to when he got subbed at Wolves and he was on the bench. He came on again, made the difference away at Wolves. So everything about him this season, yes, his goals dropped off a little bit of late, but listen, there's no question for me that he's been the shining light in a much stronger Man United team.